An active weather pattern will bring some rain and snow leading up to Thanksgiving, but then a huge Arctic blast will bring the coldest temperatures of the season to the eastern half of the US right after Thanksgiving Day. In this video, we'll look at all of this, but first, please be sure to give this video a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button for more weather updates. So, here's a look at the simulated precipitation showing right now you have kind of a line of rain kind of moving towards the east coast and some snow in southern Canada, and then you have some precipitation over the western US, especially California. Then as we go into Tuesday, so you have more precipitation kind of feeding in the last of the series of storm systems spinning around California. You have some rain and snow over California, Nevada, Utah, and Colorado, pretty much. And then that weak storm system kind of also brings some rain to the northeast. This is on Tuesday, November 26th. Then that moisture that was in the western U.S. kind of starts up another low pressure system across the south. Going into Wednesday and Wednesday night, you have possible severe weather, I guess, across the south and the southeast. And then to the north of the low pressure system, you have rain and a little bit of snow mixed in with that. You know, before it was looking like maybe a significant snowstorm for the Ohio Valley, kind of, but it doesn't really look like that. Mostly rain, a slight chance of snow mixed in for Wednesday and Wednesday night over there. And then this storm kind of moves towards the northeast, going to Thanksgiving. You have it turns into what looks like a nor'easter. You have heavy snow across the northeast, but also some rain still. And then a lot of the heaviest rain to the south and east of the low pressure system, of course, is offshore. But you'll also have strong winds with this, and that's pretty much what's happening on Thanksgiving. Other than that, you actually don't have any storm systems on Thanksgiving Day itself. Pretty much it's just going to be this snowstorm in the northeast. Starting to get some lake effect snow across the upper peninsula of Michigan, northern Michigan, kind of rotating around that system. Then after Thanksgiving, notice what happens. You have all this colder air that gets pulled down into the Midwest and the Northeast, the eastern part of the U.S. really gonna have all this cold Arctic air plunging down, and this is gonna really fire up the lake effect snow. Starting November 29th, you have all this cold air coming down, and then this goes into November 30th, and that low pressure system you still have some of what's left of that low pressure system in southern Canada that's helping to add to this lake effect snow, just kind of pulling that cold air around it. And then this is going into the end of November, going into the beginning of December. You have all this lake effect snow. Finally, this is by December 3rd going to December 4th. You might have some more of an actual snowstorm with light snow for the Great Lakes region, kind of going to the northeast. But other than that, really the big thing is just all this Arctic air, this really cold air. And then the Euro model is showing that you could have more of an actual winter storm at some point, maybe by December 6th, going into December 8th. We'll see what happens with that, but really the western U.S. is looking extremely quiet after Tuesday and Wednesday. Really nothing, and the big thing is just going to be all that Arctic air plunging down for the eastern U.S., while the western U.S. is going to have a lot warmer temperatures. And in terms of precipitation, most of it is going to be that lake effect snow across the Great Lakes region. Here's a look at a 500 millibar height, and you could see that, here's kind of the storm activity that's weak storms across the Midwest going to the Northeast. over the next couple days. But then you have more of a system kind of, this is going towards Thanksgiving. You have that storm system across the Northeast, but bringing those below average temperatures, a lot colder temperatures coming down over the eastern part of the U.S. while the West is warming up. And notice all this blue, this, below average heights, colder temperatures. It just kind of stays there over the East Coast going into early December. And then you have even more kind of spirals down into the eastern U.S., even going towards all the way into December 8th, even December 9th, December 10th on the Euro model. Still the same thing with colder temperatures in the eastern U.S. and more ridging and warmer temperatures in the west. Here's a look at the actual temperature anomalies. And you can see that, over the next couple days, you do have cooler temperatures already moving in across parts of the Midwest. And actually on Thanksgiving, you kind of have that too. But notice what really happens right after Thanksgiving. That warm air across the southeast from that cold front, ahead of that cold front, kind of moves away, and then you really see all these below average temperatures just plunging down for the eastern U.S. Then you do have some warmer temperatures for the Southwest and Texas, even going up into Oklahoma. We'll see what happens with that, but then you notice more Arctic air, so you could have multiple sections to this Arctic blast, and this really cold air just keeps plunging down, especially for the Midwest, but also the East Coast. The focus is there with all these well below average temperatures, and then you notice how things really are just heating up a lot across the western part of the U.S. And then some of that heat could actually push eastward. We'll see what happens with that. And then looking at the actual air temperatures, this is going to bring some pretty cold temperatures below zero in the single digits. Definitely winter-like temperatures for the north central U.S., like North Dakota, Minnesota, even South Dakota. And then notice what happens. You have even freezing temperatures possible in the southeast, especially the southeast. For some reason, there's the potential for some warmer temperatures to still hang around Texas, but actually a lot of colder temperatures really pushing into the southeast, where you could have freezing conditions for northern Florida even, and temperatures in the mid-20s across the southeast, Alabama, Georgia, and the Carolinas, and then definitely temperatures in the teens across the East Coast, further north into the Northeast, and cold temperatures even in the western U.S. at higher elevations, even with temperatures slightly above average. It's going to still be pretty cold. And then you have definitely those colder temperatures across the northern plains and the Midwest. And then things kind of seem like things kind of warm up going into like December 5th, but still really cold temperatures, especially the Midwest, North Dakota, Minnesota, Wisconsin, really focusing on those very cold temperatures. And then some more of this plunges down. You could have temperatures going into the low teens, even the single digits in the Northeast, and then low 20s, even further down into the Southeast, going towards December 9th. So this Arctic blast will actually last a while. High temperatures on Thanksgiving, though, actually not too bad. You actually have cool temperatures kind of in the south, even part of the East Coast, highs in the 50s, maybe upper 40s. Further south, like Florida, southern Texas, and the Southwest, you'd have highs in the 60s and 70s. Then you have, in the western U.S., the higher elevations could have some pretty cold temperatures with highs in the 20s. And then the coldest temperatures, though, really focused on the northern plains and especially North Dakota, with highs maybe staying around 0 degrees. So, yeah, definitely cold there, but, cool across most of the U.S. But look at this. The 6 to 10 day temperature outlook from the Climate Prediction Center, they have from December 1st to December 5th, the eastern half of the U.S. well below average temperatures, but warmer out in the western U.S. And this continues into the 8 to 14 day temperature outlook, still below average in the east, above average in the west. And weeks 3 to 4, December 7th to December 20th, continues below average temperatures across the northeast and those warmer temperatures across the southwest. The big story is really going to be this Arctic blast, because not really a lot of storm systems. Like, temperatures are going to be below average. You have, especially across the western U.S., really quiet. Not a lot of stuff happening from December 1st to the 5th. Really below average across most of the U.S. in terms of precipitation, and that continues into the 8 to 14 day temperature outlook. So not a lot of storm systems, except really just a lot of lake effect snow is going to be most of the precipitation that you actually see over the next couple weeks. And then weeks 3 to 4, December 7th to 20th, things might start getting a little more active in the northwestern part of the U.S. and across, of course, Texas and Florida could get a lot of rain, and then below average still across the southwestern U.S. And then here's your risk of hazardous temperatures. December 3rd to December 9th, there's a big risk of well below normal temperatures and freezing conditions across the south. A moderate risk for December 3rd to December 4th, and especially they're looking at a high risk of well below average temperatures, especially freezing conditions across Alabama and Georgia for December 3rd, where that's going to be pretty significant. You could even see some record low high temperatures and a couple record lows across the east and the southeast with this, but definitely, it's going to be very significant across the southeast with these cold temperatures. Here's a look at the risk of heavy snow. You actually have a slight risk of heavy snow, especially across this Great Lakes area is going to be the main focus, where you have all these cold temperatures plunging down, and that's gonna just generate snow because the moisture from the lakes. So really, it's not going to be much of a winter storm system type of thing. It's just going to be lake effect snow just piling up, potentially several feet in some areas could happen over the next couple weeks when this Arctic blast really happens. And also a risk of high winds. You have all that, Arctic air just plunging down. Could bring some strong winds for the same areas across the Northeast, the Ohio Valley, and the Midwest. But yeah, pretty much, other than that, like, the Arctic blast is a big story. You're not really going to see much rain. This is over the next 7 days, basically. Not really much rain in the central part of the U.S. or the Southwest or Texas. Really not much of anything. The more significant rain would really be over the Northeast in terms of precipitation, which some of this is going to be snow, of course, but pretty much 1 to 2 inches of precipitation across the Northeast, and then the South could see anywhere from like a quarter of an inch to maybe an inch of rain across the South, and then you have across the western U.S. what's left of these storm systems. You could get some precipitation from that. But then, in terms of snowfall, not that much snowfall. You have a whole bunch of nothing for most of the U.S., but you do have over the mountains across California, Nevada, Utah, and Colorado. You could see some snow over the higher elevations, but then other than that, it's going to be that lake effect snow. That's pretty much all it's going to be in terms of snowfall over the next 7 days. And then this snowstorm for Thanksgiving across the Northeast could actually dump 6 to 12 inches of snow pretty much across Maine, New Hampshire, Vermont, and upstate New York. But after that, not a whole lot of actual winter storm systems. And this is just zooming in a little more, where you can see the lake effect snow potential for several feet for areas behind Lake Erie. Lake Ontario, also possibly a few feet of snow. but that's kind of in some of these locations where you could see the most snowfall with at least 1 to 2 feet, maybe even up to 4 feet or more of lake effect snow from this Arctic blast. It all kind of depends on, you know, how close the low pressure system is and the wind direction and all that good stuff. But then even over the next 10 days, you have more lake effect snow really adding up. But other than that, not much of anything else in terms of snowfall across the rest of the U.S. So really, it's just going to be this huge Arctic blast, well below average temperatures, that's going to be the big deal over the next week or two. Thanks for watching this video. Please be sure to give it a thumbs up, share the video, comment below, and subscribe to the channel for more weather updates. Extreme Weather Zone, out.